R-E-S-P-E-C-T, T-F-T-C-T. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, little rich slave. Sock it to me, sock it to me, oh, hey, little bit, little rich slave. Just a little bit, I get tired.
And welcome, everybody. It's been a while. Welcome back to Live Respect. It's good to see all of you again. It was a nice little, I won't say restful time off, but it was a good time off. Got a lot of things accomplished. Hopefully during that time, while I was replaying a lot of the shows about child trafficking, it got into everybody's head just how important this topic is, which is why I keep doing shows about it over and over and over again, because you can't talk about it too much. You can't let anybody not understand how important this topic is. So tonight we've got a nice little round table. Two of our guests had to cancel at the last second due to some technical issues, but I do have a lot of good information about what they do and what they were going to talk about tonight. My other two guests also have a plethora of information in regard to things that can be done by all of you without it costing you a penny. And later on in the show, I have a little surprise for everybody that I think you'll find quite worthwhile, which will also enable you to go and help the situation on your own. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our panel tonight. And we've got Mike and Sue Thompson.
Good evening.
And we've got Dawn Sakes. Welcome,
everyone.
everybody. How you all doing?
We're good.
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Now, as I said, there's a lot of things that people need to be doing that I don't think they understand that they have the ability to do. A lot of people are concerned about the expense. Everybody's still hurting, even though we've been told things are getting better and better. There are a lot of things out there that can be done that don't cost anything. Now, Tina and Baz, who started ARC, couldn't be here tonight, but that does cost money, but it's a very, very, very important training. And for all of those of you who contributed in the past to enable others to be trained in that, because what it does is it trains people to recognize, rescue, and rehabilitate these trafficked children. There are other ways to help the community and help children globally. This is not a US issue. This is a global initiative. Something's very, very important. So let's start with the middle square with Mike and Sue.
Hi.
Let's talk a little bit about Shared Hope International.
Okay, we got introduced to Shared Hope International through the ARC training with Tina and Baz. And they were started in the 90s by Linda Smith, who was a senator from Washington State. Her spark was a visit to brothels in India, where she saw child trafficking happening firsthand in horrendous. Reminds me a bit of the movie Slumdog Millionaire, and the horrendous scenes where the rock star guy was abusing kids to make money. So she came back and started something, and then realized, of course, that the US has the biggest problem, and started Shared Hope. And they are very good at the education and awareness material, which is what we use to do presentations to any community group. I'll let Sue talk about Linda a bit.
So she's an amazing woman. We had the opportunity to meet her recently. And as Mike said, she started in India. I think it was 1998. And she saw what was happening to the children out there in the brothels.
And she came back to the States, and she's got such a passion for this that she realized that we had a big problem here in the States as well. And as the evening unfolds, we'll probably talk about exactly how big this problem is in the United States now. You know, Mike and I were out there day after day, just trying to reach people, to educate people on different ways that they, you know, they can help. And as you said, it doesn't always take money. And so that's where Shared Hope comes into it, because through Shared Hope, they have a program that will educate people the same way as Mike and I are, that at least they can go out onto the streets and have a conversation with people, talk about what the issues are, talk about what the signs are, talk about how they can help it. So we're very excited that we are part of this journey.
And that's an
Now-
online training.
Well, that's, you know, part of the difficulty there is just what you said, is having a conversation with people. I mean, first of all, I had no idea. In my mind, I knew that we had a major trafficking problem in this country. However, I didn't realize that we were worse than others, because I thought that places like Asia, Middle East were much worse than the United States. But I guess if you take the hub of the money,
Yeah.
really where everything starts.
And I think, Mark, that, you know, I think back now to when The Sound of Freedom came on, and everybody was like, their eyes were opened, but they really thought that it was all happening abroad in another place, not in the States. And so we've had to kind of re-educate people to the fact that this is where it is worst, in our own country, you know. And then we come back to the whole, oh, it doesn't happen in our hometowns. It happens in every little town you can imagine. So there again, there comes the education side of it. So we're just, as I say, we're pounding the streets day after day, just trying to make people aware.
Not an easy task.
No.
And Dawn, you are out there with moretoliving.org, which is yet another organization to bring the awareness to the people of child trafficking and how to help, and other means by which these children can be helped and rehabilitated. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Mark. So More to Living, which was More to Life, TOO Life, was founded by a champion survivor of domestic minor sex trafficking. Sorry, Mike was saying that he couldn't hear me, so I got distracted. So she founded this organization over 20 years ago based off of her own personal experience with rape. Child rape really is what it is. When kids are being trafficked, they don't have a choice. It's rape. Let's call it what it is. Rape trafficking is a term that she uses often. But she, one of the things that she said, you know, when she was trafficked, and then once she was in, you know, her career as an actor,
It's gotta be good.
and moving towards, you know, her own sustainability, which is what we always go for, is we're always trying to get people whole and healthy into where they can live a life full. That is their true calling in life, because we all have that true calling. And she discusses how when she was impacted by this horrific crime, she calls it soul assassination. She lost who she was. So much of the work that we do and the mentors that we have on our team and the advocates that we have on our team, we focus on rediscovering that identity. So oftentimes people lose that who they were. They forget that they were born to be great because they were impacted by such a horrific trauma that they just don't know how to move forward in life. And that's what we do, is we help them heal and restore themselves and help them rediscover that identity so they can live productive lives. We also focus on prevention and education to end demand. So we know just within this field that men are the biggest buyers. And so they're the biggest problem but they're also the answer to the solution. So we have our restorative justice to in demand, and that is something that Dr. Bello started here in Florida, and it's managed through the state attorney's office with the restorative justice. So men who are caught soliciting go through this course and are educated on the impacts that they are having, not only in the community, but it also talks to the victims, but it also goes into the root causes and helps them understand that what they're doing is just a horrific crime. And then we just recently are launching what's called Kingdom Sons, which is our faith-based educational program that will be launched into churches to educate men who maybe have porn addictions or are struggling in some areas, and really help them, guide them through that process for them to become better fathers. And then we also do other trainings, of course, and prevention education is one of them. We partner, collective impact is powerful to us. That's how we became, partners with Mike and Sue. And so that is just a huge value system to us as well.
Now, the four of us initially met at the Sarasota Farmers Market as we were dealing with the beginning of human trafficking month, which honestly I didn't know existed until just before that day. And we managed to get some good coverage on the local news about it, and all the participants that showed up to try and get the word out to the public. One of the problems, and I'll go back to Mike and Sue on this initially, when you talk about getting out to talk to the public, and we know that in certain areas, and Sarasota being one of them, these aren't exactly topics that people want to talk about. Nevertheless, talk about in public, on a Saturday at a farmer's market. When you're trying to get people aware of the need behind this and what exactly people need to do to understand and realize the scope and the depth of what's been going on in the world, how do you get people into that conversation, and how do you hold them in the conversation?
So on that particular day, the farmers market day, it was very interesting because obviously, we had on special T-shirts and we had big signs up, and we basically walked through the market, and people looked at us. A lot of them could see what the sign said, but they turned away purposely. Other people thanked us. A few people did actually engage with us, so we were able to have the conversation. A lot of people I found that were willing to stop and talk were already people that were aware of the problem. That wasn't our target goal to get those people, it was to get the other people. But at least they could see that we were out there and they could see what we were doing. And maybe it's made them go home and think about it. That's all we can ask.
It's very easy for people to not believe it happens in their neighborhood, town, city, because it kind of hides in plain sight. And our goal is to get more people aware, so that they can protect their kids, their grandkids, teens in their community, on their sports teams, in their schools, in their groups, by knowing what to watch for from the predators.
See, one of the things that I noticed, and more people suffer in the world on multiple levels, different things of denial than anything else. And sadly enough, people don't tend to jump into action or accept the fact that there is a problem until it hits them right at home. And anybody who saw Sound of Freedom probably has it etched in their mind, that one line about, I don't know what I would do if I walked in to my daughter's room one day and the room was empty. Anybody who's a parent, anybody who's a grandparent that's got to strike home with you. But a lot of people still want to call it a conspiracy theory. A lot of people still want to call it fake news. They want to call it whatever they want to call it, just so as not to face the facts of what is going on there. And Dawn, how do you, in dealing with the public?
Yeah. I mean, for us, we provide those services to kids who have been impacted by child trafficking. And so we are able to give those examples of, obviously, we don't give names, but confidentially, we're able to let them know that we get referrals for children that are as young as 9 years old. We see victims as young as 8 months old that have already been impacted in their lives. They've been verified. And so when we're able to give those examples, I think, even with the couple of sting operations that we were just part of, we recovered over 180 kids in Florida alone, and in different counties, 2 different operations, shows the need for this. These were kids that had been critically and missing endangered children, and we led all the victim services in partnership with the U.S. Marshal's Office and other NGOs. And that shows the need, and this shows what's happening in our communities, that it's happening in our backyards.
Well, see, there's another issue that's been discussed, not just here, but by a bunch of other people. One of the biggest problems in this country are the organizations that are there allegedly, my favorite word in the English language, to protect the children. And yet they seem to provide more harm than good for these children. Bringing that awareness to the public is not an easy task, not something that people want to accept, especially when it comes to something like Catholic charities and things like that, because once you bring religion into it, that's a whole other realm that people don't want to accept. So what makes, for instance, Shared Hope so much different than anything else that's out there, and what gives them that ability to set themselves apart from all of these organizations that are doing harm? And I'll ask Dawn the same question when we're done.
Should we be able to hear Dawn?
Absolutely.
Because we can't.
Really?
No.
Why aren't
My
you
lip
speaking,
reading's
Dawn?
my lip reading's not working.
Oh, you hear me? but
I
don't
hear you. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway. The NGOs like Catholic Charities that, and a couple of other big ones, the Lutherans and the another one, I can't remember what it is at the moment, but they were tasked to place the kids that were coming over the border. And that's a slightly different problem to domestic trafficking. So, but they just made millions of money, millions of dollars out of being an agency for bringing kids in and passing them off to somebody else. And basically, almost trafficking them. And it's as good as Somali fraud, if not better.
Very sad. Dawn?
But Shared Hope, they help look after the kids that have been rescued. Not directly like More to Life, but by supporting organizations that do the work of that. And their big thing is legislation and prevention.
Dawn?
Yeah, I think for us, we're led and founded by someone who was impacted by this. And so that in itself really, makes a difference in how we provide those services to kids. And we also have several survivors that are champions in not only their own lives, but in the community as well, fighting sex trafficking. And then obviously just with the work that we're doing with men, a lot of organizations aren't doing that. So that is definitely a unique pillar to us. We focus on those root causes, and we truly see that real change in the people that we provide services to.
Now, you directly deal with people who have already been rescued, people who have been taken out of harm's way. When a lot of these children, unfortunately, especially the younger ones, get taken out of harm's way, unfortunately, and this is going back to the last question also, unfortunately, you have the situation whereby the powers that be stick them into the quote unquote system, which is as bad, if not worse, than where they came from. How do, we just came out of the holiday season, and I had brought this up a while ago. As you get into the holiday season, everybody runs their public service announcements, and ASPCA and all the other charities, St. Jude's, they're all running their fundraisers. And maybe it's just my thought process. Hopefully it's a lot of people's thought processes, but when you look at these commercials that they run, and especially things like the aforementioned St. Jude's or Shriners or ASPCA, and they've got all these, for 63 cents a day, and, we'll send you this lovely plush animal and this other package that's got all this paraphernalia in it. These things cost money.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got their massive boards who want to get paid. Then you've got the commercials that they shoot that cost money. How do organizations that are out there trying to help, literally help those in need, and are giving what they're getting to the services that are being provided, how do they compete with these quote unquote fixtures of society? Whoever wants to jump in first.
Well, it's partnership is what it is, and it's collective power with other organizations. One of the things with, More to Living, formerly More to Life, has a global impact. Our founder is a global leader in the space for trafficking, but, we've always spent our efforts and our funding on the people that we're supporting and not our marketing efforts. And I'm not saying, that's bad or good for whatever organizations, they need to do what they need to do to raise funding. But we oftentimes will hear, how have I never heard of you? Well, and that is because our dollars do go into our services to make sure that we have what we need to make sure those kids have what they need as they're going through their own recovery.
Meg, Sue?
Okay, we're not sure what she said. It's hard. It's very hard. Shared Hope, we are not paid for what we do. So
We're trained
we're
volunteers.
volunteers that have been trained. And whenever we do a presentation anywhere, we won't take any money directly, but we give everybody the website to go to so that they can make a donation, so that we know it's going directly to Shared Hope or to whichever organization that we're collecting for at the time. And it's also, you rely on people. Who do you know? Who do you know locally? Who do you know that might be willing, they have a company maybe that they might be willing to donate large sums of money. You know, a lot of these big companies have foundations. So sometimes, you know, we can get money through those foundations.
See, the problem again being that because of the fact, and this is again my way of thinking, and strictly my way of thinking, we've got this entire operation, this war that we're in, would not have any success whatsoever if it wasn't for the abilities granted to us by the web. The web is essential in taking down the cabal, and it's extremely essential in what we do and getting the word out there. And yet, these cabal organizations are still paying these big bucks to get their word out in the old manner, while we're out there trying to do it in the new manner. You have more and more younger people who are glued to this manner of communication, and yet we still end up relatively unknown. What efforts can all of us put out there to try and make what we're doing more publicly present?
I think we just got to keep on doing what we are doing. In the time that we've been involved, it's a problem that's existed for a very long time. However, the organizations to combat it and help the survivors of it are pretty relatively new. And Dawn may correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe More to Living at 22, 23 years into their work are among the oldest organizations in the country that's still operating. So, I mean, we were at a conference last October, and I listened to a group from Michigan talk about their efforts. And up until a couple of years ago, they didn't even have funding for a human trafficking hotline in the state. So, but in many respects, we're just beginning the fight.
And I think that's why, you know, we have been trained by Tina and Bar's ARC, Association for Recovery of Children. And we've been through the training several times with them. Their work is very, very important because they're gathering groups of people who really want to get in this fight. So they train them. And then, like us, we then became Shared Hope ambassadors because we figured we needed the education side. Now we have a small local group that we've put together. They're all ARC trained. Most of them have been through the Shared Hope training now. That, again, you know, we're trying to see how best we can take what we've learned and go out there and spread the word and maybe find a kid or two, you know. So those people that Tina and Bars are training are very, very important to what's going on all over this country. And I think this weekend or this week, they've got a training in North Carolina. So hopefully the room is full of people.
And if I can jump in real quick, just about Baz.
And then more recently,
Dawn's talking.
Mike and Stu actually connected me to Baz because my cousin, I won't say where she's living, but she's in Texas, has had high suspicion that there is trafficking happening in her condo next door. And I was actually able to connect her to ARC because they are in that area and able to do certain things to help. Like, she's reported it to the police and she's been gathering evidence just with her Ring camera. But it's that's another great connection in a way that it was free for me to reach out to Baz to support my cousin in Texas.
Well, it's important to be able to get that information out to everybody, because everybody, this is I can't say it enough. This is a global situation. This is a global initiative. This is something that people all over the world have to hear, recognize, and understand, and get involved in, because we can't, the day has passed for people to sit and say, well, somebody else will take care of it. We have to step in. We have to do our part. We have to get involved. Now, for instance, with Shared Hope, why don't you go through a little bit of what is involved if people want to become Shared Hope ambassadors, and exactly what a Shared Hope ambassador is?
The training for the Shared Hope ambassadorship is relatively simple. You just go to the website, sign up for the training. The hardest thing you've got to do is get a letter of recommendation from somebody that's known you for a number of years. And you apply, you take the training online in your own time, and then you're ambassador qualified. That training gives you the basics to be able to go out and talk. We get talking points, so you can start conversation in your community and cover the basics of human trafficking. Our push is to get the information in front of as many people as we can. And we started in the churches because they should be the most responsive. We're having quite good success. But the nice thing about Shared Hope is they provide the PowerPoint for you, and you've just got to go through it and relay the information. And there it gets interesting, because sometimes you get resistance where you wouldn't expect resistance. But
In what
we all
sense?
know why. Sometimes you don't get the door open. You think you'd be able to walk in and say, hey, we want to present this material. We want to protect the kids, we want to protect the families. And there's not a warm welcome, because maybe they don't want to admit that it's happening there.
Even some of the churches, Mark, some of the churches won't allow us in. And I'm like, what are they hiding? What are they afraid of?
Well, they've already more than acquired their bad rep. But you would think that even from a PR standpoint, that they would want to try and turn that around.
Yeah.
Get
But, you know,
people-
it's kind of been interesting, because obviously we did start in churches, and our church has been very, very supportive. We can use their facility anytime. But Tina said to us way back, you know, she said, the more you guys get out into your community, the more people will seek you. And that's exactly what's happening. You know, we just go from one event to the next event to the next event. You know, we were recently down at Venice Airport with a group of aviators, and most of them were totally unaware. But we were able to give them, you know, we didn't have much time. We were able to give them some signs, what to look for and who to say anything to. Because most people would be like, yeah, there's a sign up there and it says, you know, see something, say something. And they're like, well, who are we going to say the something to? So that's also important, that we get out there and we give them some numbers to call once they've seen something.
And what to look for.
And what to look for.
See something, but what you're looking for.
What you're looking for. And again, you know, the important part is who to report it to.
Mm-hmm.
Because that in and of itself gets very, very dicey.
It can do.
Now, Dawn, to become a member of More to Living, I'm sorry, what do people need to do, and what exactly do they learn from becoming part of the organization?
Yeah, so we're not specifically a membership organization, but we're always looking for partners to assist with educating the community. We really, you know, volunteering time. We have some courses like financial literacy that we, you know, would have speakers come in and do trainings with mentees. It really depends on what their talent is and what they could bring to the organization. But if anyone's interested, they can always reach out to me at the email you've listed.
And does the organization, since you brought up that point, does the organization need skilled people in the sense of, people who could teach bookkeeping or accounting, people who could teach some of the basics, basic math, English, reading, the whole 9 yards, stuff that normally people would get in school, but because their situations have been denied?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to preface that a lot of the youth that we work with are still in school. Some of them still are in their homes. They may live with some of their family members, or they may, if they're safe, if they're adults, be living in their own homes. And so we, provide that support for them if they might need a hand up. Just to help them on that sustainable track. So yeah, there's always room for people who are experienced in those areas to come in and assist with that.
Now, you just brought up an interesting point. You have some who are still living in their situation.
So they're not living in their situation. So it's always, just because someone is trafficked doesn't mean that they are taken away from their home and put somewhere else. But there is always safety measures put in place. Each person is so different in what it takes for their own care, and that's what we look at. We look at what are their individual needs. And so once we determine, we have a thorough assessment process that we go through, and you determine what those needs are and make sure that, first of all, they're safe, and then provide them and protect them with comprehensive services to make sure that they're getting what they need to continue to move forward in their path and their recovery.
So, now, I hate to play journalist on this, but just for the sake of the audience and just for the sake of knowledge, when children are put into foster homes, when they're put into any of the DHS organizations, when the inspectors come to check out the situations, everything is fine and dandy and wonderful, and everybody's happy, and everybody's, look at how clean the house is, et cetera, et cetera. Do the people checking up on these people from either of your organizations have the ability to discern whether or not you're being snowballed?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, our advocates are well trained, and a lot of the kids that we do work with are in foster care. I mean, that's just the reality. That's a vulnerability that kids have, and perpetrators focus on that vulnerability, and they're very skilled at determining what that vulnerability is, and foster care is one of them. It could also be that, the parents are working all the time. We're seeing an influx of college kids that are in college are getting trafficked. And so it's happening in our high schools. But it is that vulnerability. What is that vulnerability? And so we figure out what that vulnerability is. We take that away and create systems within their own life to make sure that they're safe and that they're getting what they need to heal. And sometimes that may be in their home, but we do make sure that they're safe. And yes, we make sure that we work with a range of providers. And so that's the reality of it.
Now, all three of you are graduates of ARC training, correct?
I am not.
You're not?
No.
Okay.
No,
Right.
I have been
We
in
are.
the
Yeah, we
field
are.
of social work for over 2 decades at this point, and have a large experience with child welfare, people with disabilities, um, kids, youth homelessness, which is what led me to trafficking. Because again, that's or to more to living. Again, that's another vulnerability. Are kids who are unhoused, and so I have a wide range of knowledge. In addition, so does our team. So we have. So I can give you an example of a youth that we were working with. Who was 14 years old, and she was referred to us as a prevention case. So there were behaviors that indicated trafficking, but she had not disclosed it to anyone yet. There was no proof. And so we connected her with a mentor because it was high probability she was being trafficked. And this mentor is a champion survivor herself. So she knows what to look for. And she also knows how to connect with these kids to help them feel safe and help them to, help them understand. Oftentimes they don't understand that they are actually victims, right? They don't know that they're actually being victimized. And so with this 14-year-old, our mentor started working with her and was like, there's so much more to this story. This kid had everything taken away from her. They couldn't figure out how she was even communicating. It happened to be she happened to be communicating on the smart television. She was actively being trafficked. They started an undercover operation. There were 4 traffickers that were arrested. The head guy was actually training people how to traffic girls and boys, because it happens to boys as well. And through that whole process, that's how we determined what was happening. So sometimes people may not even know that they're being trafficked yet because they don't understand that they're victimized. And so our mentors help them know what that looks like. What does victimization look like in trafficking?
And before we move on to Mike and Sue, I want to revisit something you just said.
Mm-hmm.
How did you determine that they were being trafficked through their smart TVs?
So she ended up disclosing eventually through mentoring sessions. The 14-year-old, ended up disclosing how she was communicating.
But in what manner? Because I don't think that people will have the comprehension of it exactly how you could be trafficked or how you could carry on that type of communication.
So
through smart TV.
if you think about your smart TV, you can actually access the web on your smart television. There's also apps that you can download. So it's a connection to the outside world through the digital space.
So then, even if your parents have put all kinds of controls on your phone, on your tablet, et cetera, there are multiple.
You always have to be vigilant. That's what I'm.
Okay, Mike, and so you guys did take the ARC training.
We did.
And
Twice.
explain to the people watching exactly what that involves and what it prepares you for, and in what manner it prepares you.
It's a big eye opener. You go through from what trafficking is, how it operates, how the gangs work it, how the pimps operate, how the girls get treated. And then at the end, you instructed on how to do a rescue and role play that. I'll put it this way. Baz, who is one of the instructors, founder of ARC, he is a former CIA special ops guy, highly trained. And he has a book which he catalogues his life before ARC in the CIA, what he was doing there, and some of the rescue missions they've been on, and the stories behind the girls and what has happened. And suffice it to say, the title of his book is Something Bigger Than Overthrowing Small Governments. It's quite a big book, but it's well worth the read. Their commitment is phenomenal. And we model ourselves after them under their umbrella, in as much as Sue was saying, we're all volunteers. Nobody takes any money for any work that we do on behalf of anybody, and they don't either. They all have incomes from other sources, and their whole team that they put together when they need to do a rescue, nobody gets paid. And there is no charge to the custodial parent either. So that's how they operate. Fantastic.
I mean, the 6 days that you sit in a classroom and we sit there from 8 in the morning till sometimes 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. It's intense. It's a lot of information. And I've been sat through the training 3 times, and I see the looks on people's faces when they come out and they're like, what do we do with all of this now?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I know how you feel. That's how we felt. So, you know, we try to encourage them. The ones that come through trainings within our area, we have a group of ARC alumni, Rescue Innocence USA, and we encourage them to come and join us. And then we sit down and we talk about what our group does and what area of interest would they like to go out and do. And we kind of hook them up with team members, and we meet once a month and we discuss things. And slowly they'll decide what area they fit into best. But as I say, it's tough.
I think one of the best illustrations in the training is to consider the many aspects of human trafficking. There's so many facets to it, so many issues that need addressing, that there's something for everybody to be able to do. And the way it was described, imagine a picture of a mountainside and there's a dam on a river forming a lake. Okay? So you've got the lake, the reservoir, then you've got the spillway where the overflow comes down and runs into the river. Okay? The reservoir is a safe place. That's where the kids are playing in the water, what have you. The bad guys are over by the spillway, attracting them to the bad side. Okay? That's the grooming process. Getting the kids away from the safety of the parents over to the more dangerous spillway. Once the pimp guy gets them in the spillway, they're going down very rapidly, and that's the disappearing kid. They're there, they're not there, and they're down into the river in a couple of weeks. Now, the river is the life of being trafficked. Or as Dawn might say, it's not the life, it's the death.
Mhm.
So you've got 3 areas of operation: the reservoir, the spillway, the river. The easiest place to operate is in the reservoir. Everybody's swimming around playing safe. But in all those situations, most of the help is on the bank, on the dry land. The people that need the help are in the water. So somebody's got to get their feet wet. So there's a lot of work in the prevention side, the education and awareness side, to keep those people in the reservoir safe, away from the groomers, away from the perpetrators. Once they're in the river, then it's a different story. If they're being gang trafficked, then you've got to be careful where you go. Got to be careful how you tread. Because if you take a girl out of the gang life, you're taking their paycheck away. And they're not going to be happy. So that's where ARC do their rescues. And unlike the movies, they don't operate on that guns blazing level. Their mode of operation is to make the child disappear from the trafficking life the way they disappeared from real life, which was nobody knew what was going on and nobody noticed until it was too late. by which time you got them away and they're out of there and hopefully safe. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to hear what Dawn's been saying, but I will say when you look at More to Living, what they do with the resources they've got is outstanding. Total respect for that organization. And we're looking forward to getting more involved with them on a local level. Because, as you probably heard somebody say, local action spreads out to a national impact. And our aim is to build a strong team here, doing good work, and then spread that to other areas and beyond.
Well, that is the intent and purpose of tonight's show. Because, again, people need to get involved in any which way they possibly can. Everybody's got some kind of a skill. Everybody's got a gift of gab. Everybody has people that they know. And this is to show them that there are ways that you can get involved. Yes, it's expensive to do ARC training. It's not expensive to do either of these. So take a little pause away from the discussion. As I had said at the beginning of the show to everybody, we've got a little bit of a surprise tonight, which is another way to get involved. I've said many, many, many times on the air that I don't advertise anything purposely because I'm not here to make money. I have advertised pledging for people to donate to the ARC training so that we can get people trained, because any of the places that get built for the rescue and rehabilitation of these children has to have trained and qualified people working at those facilities. So it's important to get people trained. But it also costs money to go and build these ranches and these facilities for the children to be in. So I use some of my skills every week. Some of you might not consider them to be skills, but I guess to a certain extent.
Talents.
Every week to, bring you this information. But I spent part of my 6 weeks off putting together one of my other skills, and I'm going to premiere it here tonight for your viewing pleasure. Beginning next week, it will not only be part of my open, but will also be available for a pay to download with, if all of you download it and you tell friends and they download it, every penny that gets raised will go directly toward building these ranches and getting people trained to work at these facilities so that we can enable these kids to have normal lives. Not taking a penny out of this. This is a work of love, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you're watching it on a phone, I'm sorry. If you're watching it on a computer, go full screen and crank it up. And this is called Who Saves the Children?
Children are the children are the center of our world, and we do our best to show them that we care. But evil is lurking everywhere to steal their youth, kill their soul, show them things that they should never know. We live in the craziest of times, you never know what's in another's mind. We keep them safe, protect from bad, but they just choose to make them sad and keep their evil rituals alive. Who saves the children? We do. Who keeps
by the powers that be. How long do we wait? How many must die? How many loving parents need to cry? Who saves the children? We do, we do. Who keeps them safe and warm and so secure? We do, we do, we do. We do, we do. Who saves the children? We do, we do. And we'll fight the death to keep it safe for you. We'll fight for what's right with all of our might. And we won't leave one single child behind. Who keeps them safe and warm and so secure? We do, we do, we do, we do, we do. We do, we do. Who saves the children? We do, we do. And we'll fight to death to keep it safe for you. We'll fight for what's right with all of our might. And we won't leave one single child behind.
Very good.
Good theme song.
Yeah.
Well, that was that. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I want to thank a lot of the people who were at the event in Jupiter about a month or so ago for being part of that video, as well as a bunch of other truthers who were in that. And I especially want to throw out a thank you to Spiritual Street Fighter, who created that AI video. I did reach out to him to try and get permission, but never heard back. So I did use it, and thank you. And I hope you don't have the objections, because it's all for charity. So that is Who Saves the Children. And this is what this is all about. This is what it's all about. So this is just to show that if a yutz like me can put out something like that, you all can get involved and do something to make a difference. So let's get back to the task at hand here. And let's go back into shared hope. Now, shared hope, when you become an ambassador and you get out on the streets, you're taking a 3-hour course, which many wouldn't consider to be too much tutelage. What types of guidance does the course give? What types of guidance could the two of you give, having done this and having dealt with it, as to how people can approach getting out there and getting people not only aware, but involved? Because this is the key to it. You can talk to 1 million people and they can sit there and play bobblehead doll all day long. That doesn't get them involved, and that doesn't get them accepting. And this is a step that we need in our movement, is to get people accepting and involved.
To use an analogy again from Baz, you remember the old milk carton with the face on it? Well, how many people looked at the milk carton face and then put it in the trash, and what happened? Not a lot. So it's moving from that phase on to actually taking action. And with our group, what we do, as you say, we have presentations, and a lot of people don't like standing up in front of a group of people, no matter what size it is.
Mhm.
But we can ease them into that by joining us and taking just a small part of the presentation and then building them up. The other skills that some people have is the networking. And we just need to reach people that know people so that they can say, hey, I've got a group of people over here. I mean, we've got, I think we did 2 pregnancy solution centers so far because they needed the knowledge. Girl Scouts of America, another group we got to, just by contacts of people, knowing people and saying, hey, can these people come and do a presentation? And we want more people to find more people to do that for, and more people to make the presentations to those groups. Then they will learn the signs, what to look for, how to take action. If people want to get on the legislation side, both More to Living and Shared Life are active in legislation.
Now, legislation's a huge part of it. many, longer than any of us have been around. Legislation has gotten in the way of right and wrong in this country, and most countries around the world. So, Dawn, what legislation does More to Living get involved in, and what have there been any successes in the way of getting legislation passed? I know we had a number of months back, probably close to a year back, we had Michelle Peterson on with us, who initiated the anti-grooming bill. Got it passed here in Florida, and now they're trying to get it done federally. What we found from many of our trafficked guests is the fact that it usually starts in the home, but one of the things that has become more and more prevalent is grooming in the schools, and that's exactly what happened to Michelle's son. So what exactly has More to Living done?
Yeah. So we certainly support that legislation by working with our local legislators who have that ability to vote on those bills. We also, our founder, Dr. Brooke Bello, was also very involved in the TVPA Act that passed back in the day, which was the original legislation to protect survivors of trafficking, and then also awareness. So all of the signs, all the signage that you see in bathrooms, she was very involved with that, like at the airports. And then through our coalitions, which I chair our Circuit 12 coalition here in which is Sarasota, Manatee, and DeSoto counties. And so we also support whatever those initiatives are as well through that process.
And have there been, have there been any successes as far as getting legislation passed that in some way or another interferes with or prevents or stops any of this activity?
Yeah, I mean, definitely prevention bills. So last year, they passed legislation that was related to prevention education in schools with curriculum. And so all of those bills are designed to help that process. Now, we can pass a bill all day long, but if it's not implemented the way it should be, as it was intended, then there can be those unintended consequences that occur. But absolutely, yes, we also, it's important for people to follow that process as people are developing rules once that legislation's passed. Because just because a bill's passed doesn't mean that's what's gonna happen in it. Then most organizations or most government agencies, whoever's managing it has to create rules to implement that bill.
And then getting that bill carried through.
Correct.
So now this
That's
question is for all three of you.
Good.
Again, another one of my rants throughout the years, including when I was working, is that I fail to understand, especially, again, given the web and given the ability to reach and affect millions of people, I fail to understand why, when legislation, or even prior to legislation, ideas are floated to try and help save children, help veterans, help the general public, which is allegedly what our elected officials are supposed to be doing. When these people fail at their jobs to protect, why nobody gets out there and publicizes that and kind of turns the table. I know I was a huge screamer about it in New York, because I was still working at the time when they passed the Bail Reform Act, which became just a revolving door for criminals. And you saw people murdered, raped, et cetera, et cetera. And I had suggested to a number of attorneys who love to be in front of the camera to go and get these people, or get their families, their remaining family, hold a press conference and sue the state and local government and every single person who voted for these bills, and hold them personally accountable. Because when it hits them in the pocketbook, they're going to think twice about what they do. And getting these things out on the web are very, very, very important starts. And it's kind of a cattle prod to these people to incentivize them to do the right things. Is there a way, when you're dealing with the public, to spread these kinds of messages?
So I don't know if Mike wants to jump in here. I think that that's a tough question as an NGO, as a nonprofit, which Shared Hope is, More to Living is as well. We're good ones, I promise. That we have to, we walk in that line where, we can educate. We can educate our local leaders is what we can do. If we see something that's not accurate, we can certainly educate them and meet with them. And we do put stuff out on our social media as well. We've had some stuff with the Epstein files, of course. Working with those victims. But yeah, I think that there you can educate and you can speak to your local legislators. Maybe even hold forums, if I'm understanding your question correctly.
Well, it's a matter of information. This entire war is about information. The entire position that we're dealing with is about information. And look, for decades, the misinformation that we've been fed by my business. And, this is the type of situation that we've been dealing with. But now it's important to get that information out there, and we have the means by which to get the information out there. But yet it seems that we always fall back into the old ways of, either we don't want to step on somebody's toes, or, well, if we say this, we might lose some viewers, or, people might react badly. It's kind of time for a little tough love. I think that's what a lot of these organizations are about, and getting that word out there. Mike and Sue, you guys, are constantly, you're dealing with the public.
I think there's an awakening going on. I feel it's getting more airtime, especially when operations like More to Living are involved in, Dragon Eye and Home for the Holidays. The news is covering it, but it's fleeting. And we can put it out on the web, but the web is a huge place. It's like a giant haystack, and you're just in one little niche of it, shouting loud as you can. And we've got to amplify that voice. But I feel, and I hope I'm right, that why doesn't legislation get passed? Why are there politicians that would vote against seemingly perfectly good legislation to help? I think we know the reasons why. Look at Epstein. It speaks volumes in its silence. And that is a realization that a lot of the public don't want to face.
Isn't it
And
time that we do?
sorry?
Isn't it beyond time that we do?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Mhm.
I mean, you listen to Tara Rodas, her testimony, and you go, how did the government let that happen? Why did they let it happen? Why were they participants in it, giving millions of dollars to organizations to help it?
Millions of our dollars.
Millions.
Our dollars. And this is the part people seem to forget.
Or
This
not
is-
realize or not want to comprehend. I mean, it's a big nut to crack
Mhm.
for people to realize the depth of the depravity and the depth of the corruption. But that's what you're fighting.
This is what we've been fighting all along. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, no. It's just, it's big money. It's a big industry. It's a $1 billion industry. And it's like what Mike said, it's a big nut to crack, and fighting against the corruption for sure.
The problem, though, happens to be, and this is something else that people don't seem to understand or want to accept. It's the same thing with the premise of doing something. Well, I'm one person. What can one person do? One person can't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We're not one person anymore. When you look back to 2016, when a lot of this started for a lot of people, and it was kind of like, it was kind of like being a Muslim on 9/11. You're going to talk to people like that. You're not going to say who you are or what you are. You're not going to reveal what you really are. We don't have to hide in the shadows anymore. And there are a lot more of us than there are of them. And the only way to create the public awareness is by doing what we're doing, by doing what we all do, even off of the shows, is spread the word.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, again, I go back to why we're doing the show, because we're here to give people the opportunity, the avail, and hopefully the incentive to want to get out there and spread the word and get people to understand exactly what's going on globally, exactly what's going on with the people that we look up to and allegedly respect, what's going on with our money. And these are things that it's incumbent on us, having the airwaves, to get this out to the people. And that's what both of your organizations are trying to do. And that's why it's important to try and get the people involved. This costs zip. This involves your time and your dedication. It's easy to say, I want to help. It's easy to say, we have to do something about this. It's another thing to get off your ass and decide to do it. And I know I'm going to get the same comments that I get all the time. I resent you telling people to get off their ass and do something. I've been blah, blah, blah. I've got X amount of thousands of people who watch the show every week. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody who tunes in. So get over yourself. We have to work as a group. And these are two perfect examples of how to get involved. So now, how do we, the four of us, spur these people to do something without having to reach into their pockets? And even for the, for the training, I don't have to get off the couch.
Just spend some
Yeah.
time.
Just sit there. You're on your laptop anyway. You're on your phone anyway. How do we convince the people to go get on the site and become an ambassador, or get on the site and do whatever they can to help More to Living? What push do we need? What do we have to say to these people to get it going? Let's start with you, Mike and Sue, since you can't hear Dawn. So,
So, Mike and I are the coordinators for Florida, for Shared Hope International. So if anybody in Florida that's listening tonight wants to go to the site and take the training, we will get notified when they've taken the training so that we can reach out to them and see how we can help them.
Or I would suggest, if you've got a group of people that are parents or grandparents, and I think that includes probably 95% of the population,
or
and
the,
you
or
want to
the
learn
viewers
more,
of the show.
either come to a presentation or get a group together and we will come to you and give you a presentation. And once you've seen the presentation, you can then go do the training and get involved that way. But for the most part, we just need people to spread the word, network, and get Shared Hope ambassadors in front of groups of people to spread the word. Educate and awareness. And
Now, when it comes to Shared Hope, that's really exactly what it is more than anything individual, but also making group presentations, going in front of the church groups, going in front of, like you said before, the Girl Scouts and things like that, to just get a group of people understanding and
speaking
listening.
Speaking of the Girl Scouts, Shared Hope are just about to release 2 new training sets of slides for PowerPoint presentation aimed at 3rd through 5th graders and middle school, high school groups for the kids.
If you really want to get their attention, come out with a new type of cookie. And you'll have them flocking to you like crazy. But now, how about with you, Dawn? What could we do to boost people getting involved with More to Living?
Oh man, I mean, I think just understanding the power of you and what you can do, and reaching out. Just send an email. I'm happy to talk to anyone on a personal connection, on a call, to just educate and make them aware. Like Mike and Sue said, reaching out to your local organizations, companies, like just even your own company, your corporate, if you work for corporate, wherever you work, even getting them involved to help spread the word. And then this might actually, speaking your song, to piggyback on your song, John Rich did a song called The Righteous Hunter. And he used to be in the band Big and Rich. And this song is great. And it's all about child trafficking. And it highlights our organization at the end of the video, and then also Tim Tebow Foundation as well. And our founder, Dr. Bello, actually plays the detective in the song, and that is a great way to get people hyped up, because it's a really good video that is just really impactful. So I don't know if you're able to share that. I was trying to see if I could connect to your chat to drop it in there. But it's John Rich, and it's called The Righteous Hunter, and it's a great video to really ignite people.
Whatever means we have at our disposal,
Mm-hmm.
what we have to use, because we have to get the people involved. Got to get the people out there listening, got to get the people out there following, got to get the people out there doing.
Yeah.
Those are the keys.
You know, and that's another thing too. Sorry, I know I just interrupted you. Is, you know, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, you know, they post pictures of missing kids. And so that is another way for you to get involved in just posting those pictures of children who are missing. You never know who that might come across, who might be the key to that puzzle, or the piece to that puzzle rather. So that's another way that people could get involved as well.
There are plenty of organizations out there.
Mm-hmm.
We're highlighting you guys, and we're highlighting ORC right now.
Mm-hmm.
But there are plenty of organizations out there that are trying to do something. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that as people are going through the channels, that one of the things to avoid are the larger organizations that have big budgets to advertise, because odds are a lot of the money that gets donated is going to that. And as I said before, to the salaries of people on the boards there, et cetera, as opposed to going to the cause. But we have to get people moving. We have to get people motivated. So I'm going to close this out playing the song one more time, but any final thoughts from either of you?
I think it, you know, like General Flynn always says, local action, national impact. We have to start in our own communities and build out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything, Mike?
And that's why we like More to Living, because they're local. They're here in Sarasota, and it's great for them to be here. Great to have them here, and we just hope we can get more people behind them. A lot of people giving a few dollars would be great. Shared hope obviously needed as well, but they've got a bigger reach. Start local. I would totally support Dawn. And anybody in Venice, we're at the Venice airport on
March the
21st,
March the 4th, I believe, but I'll get that date
about
to you.
4th or 7th.
Yeah.
They're having a big open day at the airfield there. Families coming out, take airplane rides and have lots of fun, but we've got a table there, so you can come and see us there.
Very nice. Very nice. Definitely give me that information. I will put it out. Dawn, any last thoughts?
Well, thanks everyone for being here and listening. And just know that ending child trafficking doesn't require a miracle. It requires a movement. It takes a united front of global patriots who refuse to look away. Whether you are sharing a post, learning the signs, or simply saving a phone number like the National Human Trafficking Hotline, you all are a vital soldier in this battle. Freedom isn't free, but the tools to protect our children are, and they are in your hands right now. So check out not only moretoliving.org, but also Shared Hope to see how you guys can get involved.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to thank you both for being here. You know, these are the things that we need to do. This is why I keep doing these shows. It's important to get that information out. You know, again, for those of you, this is old for you, but for those of you who want to continue to donate to ARC training, it's important to have the people trained to take care of these kids once they are rescued. You gotta find them, Got to rescue them. You got to rehab them.
Yeah.
The 3 R's. Those are the new 3 R's in our lives. 3 R's being reading, writing, arithmetic, and it's now recognize, rescue, and rehabilitate. So, you know, there is that.
Cool.
Again, I want to thank Spiritual Street Fighter, even though you probably haven't realized it until tonight. Thank you for the video that you did, because it was an integral part of what I did. So thank you for that. And of course, as I do every week, because that's the most important thing in the world, I want to thank Claudia, Kat, Carrie, and Doug, because without them, as I always say, we're just 4 people sitting here having a conversation. Best in the business. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to play you out with the song, and we'll see you again next week on Another Respect. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Thank you.
Well, it's a shame we couldn't hear her. I wonder if the whole audience couldn't hear her, though.
Children are the center of our world, and we do our best to show them that we care. But evil is lurking everywhere to steal their youth, kill their soul, show them things that they should never know. We live in the craziest of times, you never know what